Yes! Welcome aboard the bus for the T.N.F. Sorry you've missed the first 12 minutes of conversation that we've had because we thought we were live. And I'm sure Kenny Dalglish right now is pissing himself somewhere going, he's done that before, he's forgot to hit that button. But you've got to hit the go live button twice. I think I just hit it once. So no intro music. We'll just get straight into it. Thanks to everyone who's been waiting on the bus so patiently. What a bunch of clowns. We have been talking about. It was a great conversation, though. It was a great. I know the judge is doing well. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But yes, we were talking about last night. It'll be weird just having the exact same conversation again. But Mark, we'll kick off. We'll do all that good stuff, like, share, slag the hair, all that stuff. Give a wee thumbs up, give a thumbs down. Nobody cares. All that carry on. But yes, it's good to be on the actual bus. It feels better now already. It feels live and kicking now. But I was saying, Mark, to you, Celtic last night, the two sides of a team going for the title that you don't want to see is a Celtic side when faced. Heard all this shite before. When they're in a positive position like getting an early goal, which they've done 3 of the last 4 games, they don't kick on for it. Yet when they get adversity, such as conceding an equaliser, they seem rattled by it. I want your thoughts on that again.
That's a great point, mate. It's the first I've heard it. No, I think I've got a belief, mate. I think the team's not got any belief just now, boys. I think when they get the first goal early against Ross County and last night, you're thinking, right, kick on, Celtic, guys, go for it. And they're not doing it. When they're gone behind, they're looking like there's a bit of adversity. They're not rising to the challenge now, and I don't think that it's one off. I think all this season we've not been looking like we're going to be killing teams off. The only game I can remember Celtic performing really well in was Aberdeen. And we scored 4 goals, I think, in injury time. I don't think it was a white or 3 or 4 goals. I don't think it was a total whitewash that night, you know what I mean? And I'm not entirely sure what Rodgers is watching when he says last night, he read the comments that he saw a team full of heart and desire. There was one player in that part that had
He
heart and
mentioned
desire.
about title in it as well, didn't he?
Was
He said
that?
something about his title winning mentality or something like that as well.
I think his title was just bullshit of the fucking year, man. I think if you're looking at heart and desire, boys, the only one person that had heart and desire in that part was Anthony Ralston. You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that because I'm his biggest fan, but see that tackle towards the end. You look at that. That was like a defining moment in that match. It genuinely was, and I thought the guy came on off the bench, and I said it before. Ralston might not be a 10 out of 10, but it'll at least give you a base level 7 out of 10. If he doesn't win you a match, boys, he'll make sure he does his job. You know, and I thought he did that last night pretty well. And I thought Callum McGregor posted missing Matt O'Reilly. I think he's probably in Madrid in his head. Bernardo, I wish he was in Madrid. I think we've found him out, boys. 3 good games, and I think we've found him out. I think that goal against Rangers really, really has tainted the actual reality of that guy's performances. Good goal against Bucky Thistle, although I think I could have scored against Bucky Thistle. And I think another goal somewhere else. I don't think that in midfield, I spoke about it last week, midfield is posting missing for Celtic. And our width, fuck me. I mean, our width is non-existent. Kuhn, he's a diet version of Leo Labada. I think he's red rotten. I'm sorry to say that so early. I think a guy can't beat a man. We must have a prerequisite when we scout wingers, and they must say, look, they must be under 5'7", and they must be able to not beat a man. Tick both boxes and we'll sign them. We'll get no strength. We're not going to buy players. We're not overlapping. We're not cutting inside. The width is giving me nothing just now. Absolutely nothing, boys. And Matt O'Reilly's having to drift so wide to make up for that he's becoming ineffective. He's about the heart of that team. Maybe a Wata should start on Sunday with O'Reilly and McGregor, both sides of him, so we can push forward a wee bit. And that passing for the side to side. I swear, if we get a penalty kick last night and it was Scales kicking it, he'd have kicked the ball backwards. Boys, that is how frustrating it is to watch our centre backs pass the ball. But I don't know. We know what the system is, what the formation is. I thought we got lucky with 2 penalties, and I know we've spoken about it for 12 minutes there, but I'll recap it. I think the second penalty, when you saw that live or at a stadium, you're not shouting for a free kick or a penalty. The shot was taken, he got his shot away. It wasn't until you saw a Hubble Space Telescope examination that you said, all right, it's inside the box, that's a penalty kick. And even at that, boys, I think if Andrew Dallas waved it on as just one of the moments in the match, we wouldn't have been sitting raging. We wouldn't have been putting it on Twitter all last night. We would just moved on for it. And so in that respect, I think for once, the referees did bail us out last night. I don't think we were going to score a goal at all. I thought the big striker, he looked raw, but he looked something different, and I liked it. It was a focal point. At least we've got a focal point with this guy, and I think he's the kind of guy that can play with a striker, and I think that's important. He can play with somebody else. You know, there's some strikers that look like they can't play with someone. He looks like he can definitely bring the game on a bit and bring on our one if we've got any fingers that are able to go by. But even Maeda, I knew he's supposed to be the great white hope, boys. I knew what we were going to get last night. Everybody was praying he was going to be the key to this lock for Celtic, and I knew that's what you're going to get after the guy. I mean, he's been there for 2 years. We don't know how he's going to play. You never will. I think the guy either hits the ball into the stand or he hits the ball 20 yards behind somebody else. He's just red rotten, boys. And we need football players. We need people that can beat men now, because the creativity is lacking. So we need a spark. You're not going to get a spark for that. You're not going to get a spark for Kuhn, who can't. Leila Bada, I'm convinced he's been told after the club to get up a tunnel at full time, boys. He's not celebrating with the fans anymore. He's not celebrating with the players. I think he's been told not to get involved in that, because visually, back in Israel, him celebrating with Celtic fans might not come across right, especially if you look up the top tier and you see a fucking Palestinian flag or something, you know what I mean? Or even if you see some sort of celebration that might look dodgy to the Israelis, you know what I mean? You can imagine. So in that respect, he's just got to go in summertime. We can't have players like him, McCarthy, fucking Burnley, all these guys that want to go and should go. There's too many of them cutting about. But I'll cut that short because I've spoke too long. But
no, not at all.
Last night was a bit of a worry, boys. See, I think last night, as much as we got the result, fucking yes. I mean, I was celebrating as much as anybody, but the takeaway for last night, when you sober up for last night, there's more questions than there is answers. And one thing's for sure, I'm not convinced that Brendan Rodgers has got the answers to the questions that I've got for Celtic just now.
That's an interesting point. I want to touch on something that you said, I think, on our rehearsal show, Mark, that we did for the 12 minutes just a wee chat about Celtic, me and Mark. It was brilliant, honestly. I thought nobody's keen, right? You know what I mean? Nobody's even reacting to anything that's been said so far. Getting fuck alls, folks still waiting about. I'm like, just hit the refresh button. Then I realised I went mad. One of the things you said, though, was that about the late goal, you were comparing it to Ralston against Ross County. Yeah. And you were saying that game, your exact words were that game you felt won us the league that year in terms of the momentum. I knew what you meant by it. That was the game that's what won us the league. Now, how weird is it that this season when we do a match like that, and it is fortunate circumstance to win, that feeling isn't there. And by the way, I share it, just so you know. I'm agreeing with you. It doesn't feel the same vibe as when Ralston did that. I think it's weird how the optics can change despite there being quite a lot of common denominators in the two. You look at that last night and you go, if there's positivity in there, we come on here and we say, I see you win fucking titles. I see you get it over the line, you get the job done. I get the feeling with Celtic this season, getting the job done is something that happens sporadically through a title-winning campaign, not continuously. Just get the job done. I'll tell you another interesting thing. See if Celtic were to go on and win the rest of their games this season. I know before yesterday they were talking about winning the 14 remaining games. I'd finish us on 100 points this year.
All right.
I think we're all in a space where we think Celtic need to win every game between now and the end of the season if they want to win the league. We'd finish with 100 fucking points.
Wow.
Weird how... And that's not me. You know, I'm not a stats man in terms of that. I'm very much, I'm about the eye test first and foremost. And then stats, I think, are handy, but can be so easily twisted and conflated. There's a great example. You know, 100 points. If we finished with that, that would go down as one of our best league campaigns ever. It's not been. It's not how. It's a weird one, though, isn't it? I really hope my maths is right with that, by the way. See if my maths is wrong, I'm away him.
No, you're right. I think the indecision and the kind of split feelings Abdi's got dates back to the minute we hired the manager. I was delighted, you were delighted, but there was another 3 people behind us that were distraught with the news, Bhoycie, and I think it comes down to that. And I know you're not a stat man, but I'll give you a stat. I was listening to one of the stat podcasts the other day there, and we're talking about Celtic and their defence. And do you know, so they were talking about teams when they attack Celtic or attacking teams in Scotland, who gets the closest to the opposition's goal most often. And do you know who's bottom in that league? Celtic. Teams like Ross County get further forward against Celtic.
Okay.
And so Celtic defending their own goal, they're the worst in Scotland. They're the worst. So teams get yards closer to Celtic's goal than any other team in Scotland, any other team in the top division, right? And then defensive wise, again we're bottom. Teams are getting offensive wise, again we're like 2 yards behind where we were last season. So we're getting further away from the goal. And then on top of that, there was a stat that I found quite crazy. So there was like the optimum position for a goalkeeper to be relative to a shot to save it. Joe Hart's was the worst in the league. So if you're to hit a shot and a goalkeeper, what position would that guy have to be in to give him the best chance to save it? He was the worst out of the full league for his positioning to save a shot. And you go, how does that end well? There's teams getting closer to us than anybody else in the full league. Even the Ross County, even Livingston, they're getting closer to us, right? Plus, our goalkeeper is furthest away relative to the shot to save it than any other keeper in the league. And you go, right, wow.
Now you said you watched that on a Celtic podcast.
Not
the club, obviously, like another fan media one.
It was
the breakdown or something.
Breakdown, and like them, I love them. They use
no.
And so seeing they speak, I tend to listen to them. You know what I mean? And I do like all the wee stats. I think stats can be
muddy the waters a bit. Now, let me just come in on that.
It's true though. I mean,
see if they've got access to that data, Mark, right?
Celtic must have voice count. No, they must.
Right. So if you think about it, these guys are doing a fans podcast, and they've got the time and the energy to locate these stats
as well,
dig them out, yep, and reflect on, where that leaves Celtic short in certain areas, or what our deficiencies are as an offensive team and defensively, and why our goalkeepers maybe a position of interest to replace. They can do all that, mate, for a podcast that I wonder what they've got, maybe 5,000-6,000 subscribers. Celtic have 50,000 season ticket holders and fans worldwide and a booming business, and yet they cannot see these stats and think that maybe we might need to improve on certain departments in the team. And I don't just mean Joe Hart with that, because that'd be unfair. I think when you're looking at those attacking deficiencies, you're getting further away from the goal that you're meant to be peppering, if you like, especially when you're Celtic. You're then looking at defensively, we're retreating. By that, I'm playing with the stats that you've given, but it looks like we're almost allowing oppositions to get closer and closer to make these shots to a goalie who's no standing in position. Mean, this has to be, Mark. This has to be stats that they're aware of in transfer windows. If it can be found in another podcast, and fair play to them for finding that information, surely the club are aware of these. And then it becomes, it's either ignorance or it's just downright disregard. Now, the one thing Celtic have formed for is not taking a certain competition seriously, and that's called the Champions League. They have never respected or shown that competition the respect it deserves, Mark. That means in terms of qualifying for it, and it means in terms of when you are qualified for it, strengthening it as such. They've never shown the tournament respect, and funnily enough, the tournament's giving you fuck all back in return. We cannot afford to do that in the league. And see, when you tell me stuff like that, I go like that. That's not treating even your domestic league with the respect it deserves. Well, don't be surprised when a harsh lesson is dished out by that league the same way the Champions League does as well.
Well, you look at the sidelines, boys, saying I'm all for calm and focused and all the rest of it, but there's no animation. You know what I mean? There's no like, the goal will come. It's like the goal's going to come. So and you're like, the goal's not going to come. And I'm all for sticking with the system and trusting the process on the partner. I'm okay, right? I get it, but this for me, this setup just looks like it's sleepwalking into a disaster, mate. And you look at it and you go, I said that on the 12 minutes that will never be aired, unfortunately. That I don't think last night's victory was one that kept us top of the league. I thought it kept us in the title. The reality is they'll be top of the league come this time next week. They'll beat Ross County by more than 2 goals. I think we all know that. You know what I mean? If Motherwell could put 5 past them, yeah, I think Rangers could do that as well. So they'll be top of the league. Then we'll be chasing them. We'll see what grit and mentality is all about. And there's a lot of our fan base just relying on Rangers collapsing, because you can't be relying on us winning 14 games. No chance. I don't even rely on us beating St Mirren on Sunday. I genuinely do not have many hopes that we're going to beat St Mirren on Sunday, right? They won a game last night. And can I just tell you something? We've sat on this pod probably mostly this season, and I'm going to give you something that might just make you think twice about a Celtic team and this manager. This, in my opinion, is the worst group of teams I've seen in Scottish football in my life, in my supporting life, right? And Celtic are making this look like the Champions League. This is the worst set of teams that I've seen, and Celtic are making this look like the Champions League. Our manager's struggling to find ways to break down teams. As I said last week, a guy who had no experience whatsoever, 45 minutes in the job, and he sussed out Rodgers like that. Second half, bang, Aberdeen should have won the match. Last night, our manager getting criticised for every supporter in the stadium. What happens? Lost 3 at the last 4 games at home. First half, dodgy. Second half, bang, better team. Only one team is going to win that game last night, boys, and it wasn't Celtic. And I think if the game tomorrow was Rangers v Celtic, or Celtic v Rangers, Hampden, Ibrox, Celtic Park, we don't win that match. And as I say, we scored 4 goals in the last, since we beat Bucky Thistle, which I'm disregarding. I think that even that game winning 5-0 was atrocious, to be honest with you. But it's another story. I'm disregarding that. Since we come back for this break, we've scored 2 penalties and 2 deflected shots. We're creating nothing. We're no peppering goals. We're no having great saves for the keeper. We are showing absolutely nothing. Even defences like Ross County. I mean, the Ross County manager, he quit yesterday. He told his players that a team in the 4th division in England was 100 times better. He told them that in the media. Told them they were all crap. Every week he slagged fuck at them, and he took that team to Celtic Park, and they looked like a class act. They looked like they could have got a result against us. We couldn't break that down. A team who just didn't want to play for their manager. Following week, we play a team who just sacked their manager. A guy who just took the bushes with a zipper, took a job on for a week. Should have got a result against us. Quite should have possibly got a victory against us, if you're being honest, right? We showed nothing that much. Last night again, I mean, I think the club is just sleepwalking into a disaster, boys, and I think our fans a lot of our supporters are like, if the plan is to rely on Rangers fucking up, then that isn't a plan. If we're sitting in February the 9th, waiting for it to click, then it's not going to click, Bhoycie. I mean, if you're still waiting for the players to click into this system when the league's nearly over, then fucking it's not going to click. You're not going to find next week that Bernardo and O'Reilly go, oh fuck, oh this is what I'm supposed to do now. You know what I mean? That your wingers, as I say, I don't know how many wingers will go to the club, but not one of them can beat a man. I mean, since day one, I'm saying this about Palmer. Palmer can't beat a man. That Bucky Thistle right back had the guy on toast. He didn't beat him. In fact, see last night, one of their players fell, and we still managed to fuck up, take the ball on him. We still managed to fuck it up. And I'm going to be honest, I sound negative, right? I'm just going to say this, bold as you like. There's no way, conceivable way whatsoever, that a team has got a manager who the players don't support, I don't think. The fans are 50-50 whether they like him or hate him. Players aren't performing in this system, or they don't get the system. We've got wingers that can't take a man on, strikers who can't score goals, keepers who are further away from the ball than they should be, a keeper who's hitting the ball into the stands, and a defence that's all over the place. If that's a successful season in football, then I am shocked. we don't win a trophy this season, boys. The only thing we can do is just hope that they don't hit a treble. Because that seeing me, I'm going away for a couple of days. There's no way I'm sitting here listening to fireworks. I think you're wanting with your eyes closed, fingers in your ears if you think Celtic are going to win the league this year, mate. I'm sorry to be negative to folk, but you can't be watching the same football I'm watching if you think that team's going to go and win the next 10, 11 games, go into Ibrox, win at Celtic Park. There's no belief. You say to yourself, if we go one behind against, if we played Morton in the morning and went one behind, I wouldn't be convinced we're going to win the match. Chris Sutton said last night, well, see just now with Celtic, there's no good games with Celtic. And I agree with him. There's no a game that I would get into the morning and say, oh, it's comfortable. We've got Kilmarnock at home in our next league match, who has beat us twice already this season. And normally when you go to home games, you're going to yourself, is it 3, 4? It's 3 points. Now I'm thinking, fuck's sake. And be honest, boys, in your head, in your brain, you know I'm right there.
I think when it comes to winning the league itself, it seemed to me to be almost a certainty under when Beale was there. And we started building that lead, and I thought, fuck, we've not even found form yet. We had the harder opening 10 matches in the league. We had the more away ones, the trickier away ones, if you remember the season opened. And yet, despite it being unconvincing, we picked up points. And I thought, well, once we find the groove, and we've got those more comfortable home games. But bizarrely, it was in that second round, if you like, of fixtures, we kind of started really seeing the warning signs that this wasn't just a bedding in process. This was something that's fundamentally wrong here with how this team's set up, whatever the message is tactically. This isn't great. This is actually, we're spilling now points. And the ones that were trickier on paper, if you like, in that first round of fixtures where we did pick up points, was more by hook or by crook the more you look at it when you've seen the form in the second round of fixtures. I agree that doesn't necessarily end well. What I would say is I think right now there is a title race. I think the momentum, I hear what you're saying. It feels like Rangers will win games when they have to, and you wouldn't hang your hat on Celtic to do it. But notwithstanding that, you can't deny that derby that was just played. And I appreciate it was, whatever way you wanted to dress it up as, there was bits of fortune in it or not. Celtic got the job fucking done that day. And seeing derbies, you do get what you deserve out of it in the end of the day, in my opinion. And it's certainly not going to be, just all the luck in the world's been shining us twice this season. They went into that with the backing of their fans, a manager who is completely in vogue with their supporters, a club that seems in their mind to be on the up, and we did beat them again.
Yeah.
End of story. And that is part of this momentum stretch. Right now, I mean, I said it in the description, Celtic right now have took 19 points from the last 21. That's more than Rangers have in the last 7 games, for example. Right? Now, this is, and then, like I was saying earlier, win all the rest of the games, and I know it's a separate point from do you think we will, we could finish this season with 100 points. But just remember, the opposition we've got is not, is there desperation if you're relying on them to fuck up? Maybe so, but recent evidence as well, as recent as the last derby tells you, when everything seems to be geared towards them being able to inflict some damage in the big occasion where they had to, there's still warning signs for their own supporters. Not that they'll show it at this point in time because they gloat and they you know what they're like. January is always a month. February, this time of year, they're always usually in quite buoyant mood. But they must know at the back of their mind that was an opportunity missed massively. And if ever Celtic have been on a shaky peg this season, on a shaky peg during the title race, it's this season. And they couldn't get the job done then either. So I'm not going to go as far as Celtic will never win the league this year. I understand your reason for thinking that. I'm not in that space as far as that. I've got to be honest. But we do need to change things. And the holy goalie, I think, is on a great point here. And what annoys me about football fans now, they've turned a brilliant sport full of emotion, full of momentum shifts left, right, and centre. They're trying to turn it into a pure science, Mark. And not just a pure science, but a snobby science at that. And people now think you're a simpleton if you suggest things like the holy goalie is. And that is, do we have to find a way to play with 2 strikers? I can't believe the sneering you would get for that. The sneering you would get for that is a joke, because that's just not how the elite teams, the modern way is. Who gives a fuck? I think when you actually look at it, and what really frustrates me is, I think Rodgers deep down wants to do it, but for some reason he wants to still be part of the elite manager. Fucking, I remember saying that elite manager group, whereas he doesn't want to be setting out his stall with two. But see, when it comes to his leaning points, he switches it to two up top. He fucking switches it, doesn't he? And that's what's interesting. You know, we've seen Ida and Kyogo finish the last two games. You know, and I just wonder if you're going to make a change. I always remember this one, and don't take this the wrong way, but I would wonder if in that Lenny season that was finished early by the COVID, when we, you know, when it was him up against Gerrard, I wonder if you were in a similar space then at the end of December, where we'd lost the derby and you thought, we'll not win that league. Look at the fucking status. What you've got to give Lennon credit for at that point was he made a change to it when he switched it to 3-5-2. Remember that? And he brought in, heaven forbid, Lee Griffiths, and he played with Edward. And it was like Celtic came out rejuvenated. I think they took nine wins for their 10 games after the restart, something like that. Where's Phil when you need him? It was something like that, though, and a lot of goals. And we kicked on. I think what the Holy Goal is saying there is we need to freshen this up. As you called it, a guy who's put on a tracksuit for the first time as a manager ever, it took him 45 minutes to go at that. I know what Brendan Rodgers' setup's all about. I know how he's going to play. Kind of knew it before the game. 45 minutes in now, I definitely know what we need to do. He's got to take a different approach. Would you be in favour of two strikers?
I would. Anything that gets us up the park further. This is the problem with Celtic. We're not getting up the park. It's this side-to-side passes that are 20 yards inside their own half. You know, they're going nowhere. You know what I mean? It's unless you get somebody like Ayer or Van Dijk is going to run 60 yards with the ball. You can't rely on your centre backs to be creative. That's not what they're there for. And it's the same as our Taylor, etc. He gets a lot of stick when Celtic aren't performing well, but it's not his job to be creative. And we have to get the ball up to the strikers and start getting the ball in front of the opposition's goal. And we're not doing that. I think if you've seen Celtic under Rodgers, there's a big, massive gap between the midfield and the strikers. There's like, I don't know, there's something, there's a link missing there. And I think two strikers might solve that problem. Kyogo, I think Kyogo's form is such that he needs something that's going to work for him because he's looking like, I mean, even last night, Rodgers was giving him big cuddles after the match. It looked like he was in the dumps, you know what I mean? And we need to get the guy confident again, and maybe Ida will bring the best out of him. And I think that big guy's probably going to be, you look at his career, he'll probably make more goals than what he'll score. It looks like he's a handful, you know what I mean? But he'll muscle guys out the way, he'll play a nice free pass, the rest of it. And if that's the case, then why no Celtic? I don't think Rodgers will change. I don't think Rodgers will, boys. I think Rodgers is up for being told what to do. I think the obvious thing is to play two up front, because if you go width that are providing the width, and midfield that are providing absolutely fuck all, then you've got to rely on your strikers, and having two in the park might just be the answer to that. But do you know? And people tell you it's no fantasy football, it's no FIFA. You go, well, I can see in my eyes that it's working when it's on the park. It is working for that short space of time. Even last night,
it's something he's resorting to, Mark. It's what he's doing to try and get the result as well.
There's an option there, you know. And I think his subs this season's been fucking awful. Which I thought his in-game management was brilliant. He surprised me with how bad it's been. But that's one decision I think he's got right, because we've looked more dangerous. We've got a focal point with this guy either. But if that's the case, then there might be the option to play it Kyogo in behind him. You know what I mean? Would it be the wee nod off after the shoulder? Because Kyogo's not going to beat a man and score a goal, boys. That's not his game. He's a typical after shoulder striker and behind. And the same way Maeda. Maeda's with the ball at his feet shite. You need to give Maeda a bit of ball to run onto. And yet the ball's going up to him and he's back to goal when he receives the ball. How is that going to work? He needs to run onto a ball. He's no sat and said that to a manager in his life. I'm a football player. He's never said that once, because if he said that, he's a lying bastard. But get the ball to 10 yards in front of him. He'll catch it first. He will get that ball first. And then the rest, he'll probably fuck up anyway. But there's no playing to anybody's. I think McGregor's strengths is 10, 15 yards inside the opposition's half. Fucking creating passes, bringing the width in, bringing O'Reilly in, and he's sitting 15 yards in his own half, try to receive the ball after Liam Scales, try try to cover fucking Bernabeu running about mental, and you go, what is this? What is this? You know what I mean? O'Reilly, as I say, he's drifting that wide now that he's just become he's irrelevant on the park now. You know what I mean? He's not doing what he's good at. He's been rotten tasting to some since the window opened up, finished. I think I did genuinely think that some of that was. I mean, Rodgers said it himself. He went and think they've been told them that they're going nowhere. Just ask Dembele and Boyata what happens when you want to go to a team and Rodgers doesn't want you to go. He'll tell you to stay. And I don't think that there's anybody in that team. Maybe like McGregor. Maybe McGregor, who when they turn around and go like that, fucking 50 grand a week playing in Spain for one of the best teams in the world. Champions League football every year. Madrid next week and Barca the week after that. I fancy that. Don't tell me he's went like that. Nah, fuck it. I've got a title push against Ross County coming up. I don't think for a minute he's like me and you, boys, who would fucking walk out broken glass to play for Celtic. He's a football player. It's a job to him. You know what I mean? He's probably got a family. I don't think he's went like that straight away. No, I've got a title to win. I just do not think that's what's happened. I think the sport he's probably been told the best for your career is probably to stay at summertime. He's probably said, you know what, you're probably right. I've got a career path. I'm in no rush to do it, and I'll stay. But I don't think he's all that happy with it. And Rodgers said, he got asked the question, what happens if there's a second bid? And he said, well, hi man, well, they'll be going nowhere. And look at Abada's face. He's not want to play for Celtic anymore, Bhoycie. You know what I mean? And O'Reilly, it could be his bad back against Bucky coming back to bite him, because he should have been off the park and never finished the game. But he stayed on the park, you know what I mean? And he's been rotten ever since. Maybe he's carrying a knock. But I just think we're making excuses for everybody, Bhoycie. I mean, I've said it all season about Callum McGregor. He is captain invisible. If he won that game 5-0 last night, he'd have been all over the place, getting the balls and spraying passes. Seeing it's digging, dirty football, he's nowhere to be seen, mate. He is nowhere to be seen. And sometimes he puts a shift in and he makes up for everybody else's inadequacies. But last night he was just nowhere, mate. Nowhere. The whole time I saw the guy when he picked the ball up to give either the ball, he took a penalty. The whole time I saw him. You know what I mean? And I don't know. We deserve more than that for a captain. I think he's been good for Celtic in spells, but this season is all about grit, belief, desire, hunger, that fortitude, and all in telling Barisic he's a shite bag. I've not saw one bit of fortitude for Callum McGregor since he's been the captain of Celtic. Hard for people to hear, but I can't remember the last time the guy published for a match, Bhoycie. I really can't.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point as well. I mean, there's a lot to get through. We'll bring up the next one from Chris M. He's saying, do you think Brendan is being hypocritical when he says he likes to coach, bring talent through? Yeah, he plays Bernabei instead of someone like Mitchell Frame. Well, I've got a few takeaways on that. I was reading, it was on the old Twitter, on the lunch break, and I think it was the Celtic blog had quoted some tweet or some article from the Celtic Underground that actually Bernabei last night was the most expensive Celtic player in the first team. He's the highest fee paid.
He's highest of all time. He's Celtic's highest ever fullback in their history.
Aye, but no, I mean in the whole team.
I'm saying
out of the starting 11. He was the most. So no, we've paid more for Bernabei than anyone else in that starting 11. I was like, right, the fucking that can't be right, but apparently it definitely is. I mean, it's interesting with that one. I think he's got to try to be seen. If he's came out and like he says, my job's to develop and coach the players. Well, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, Bernabei is meant to be then the sort of template for what Rodgers is talking about there. Like, you come in and you manage to get him playing well, then trust me, the league won't even seem that much as a rabbit out the hat for even the judge. You've got to remember, he's almost in a position where he can't win with that. So Greg Taylor's out, and folk don't want Greg Taylor to start. But that's what it is, because we didn't address left back. Our backup option on paper is Bernabei. We play Mitchell Frame, we drop points tomorrow night. Not because of Mitchell Frame, by the way. That's not what I'm associating with. Let's just say we were to play Mitchell Frame and we drop points. How wholly irresponsible it would have been to throw him in and do that to our boys' confidence. That could be, career influencing, things like this. So it is, I mean, see, at the end of the day, what he's got is two options he doesn't want to use either. That's the reality. That's not a diss on Mitchell Frame. It's a diss maybe on Bernabei, because I think it's quite apparent that that's not who Rodgers wants to pick for his team. But in terms of Mitchell Frame, that's someone Rodgers would love to be playing this season, I'm sure of it, and give game time to. But once the game's won, and we don't win games convincingly enough to be given 15, 20 minutes out willy-nilly, or leagues are settled, but we won't be winning this league title with 3 to 4 games to spare to allow that either. So, unfortunately, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place there, but that then falls back to him. If he's happy with their dealings in the window, then so be it. He must be happy playing Alexandro Bernabei. But yes, Judge, at £3.75 million, Alexandro was the biggest transfer paid in Celtic starting 11 last night. Now, you speak about downsizing. You speak about it's happening in front of you. I call it conditioning. I've said that fans have been conditioned to realise or see what Celtic can't do, and you've been taken up that path. That's what they've done for the last 20 years. You've been took up a path, and the two choices were can't and can. And the can't path leads you to Bernabei being the absolute peak of our abilities in the transfer market, even with £70 million in the bank, to be the most expensive player in the team. Or you go up the can route and you start trying to be aggressive, ambitious, and employ people that might be quite good at recruitment, that might be able to identify players that cost more money. But guess what? You'll still make your profit on it, you daft bastards, if they come in and do the job. So for me, it seems to be all about what Celtic can't do. And I think when you look at that with Bernabei last night, I don't think it's a slight on Brendan for not trying to coach or integrate Mitchell Frame into proceedings. I think Bernabei, by playing as the most expensive player in that Celtic team, is a damning indictment on where Celtic are as a club right now.
Oh, spot on. And when you think it's millions of pounds less than we were paying 20 odd years ago, it just shows you. In fact, if you listen to Neil Lennon, I think it was just the other day there, it might have been Tuesday, he was given a whole list of reasons why Celtic never bought players in the January window. He's saying, they might not want to come to Scotland. How do you entice them? And you go, there's no Champions League football. And you go, Lennon, you're just speaking like the board are speaking to you, mate. Giving us all the reasons why they can't come. Well, what about the big stadium, the big fan base, the trophies to the one? What are all the reasons why we can strengthen? Give me reasons why we can do it rather than giving us reasons why we can't. There's no reason why we can't. In fact, I've said it before, if Pollock Juniors had the money, they would take Ronaldo tomorrow. He wouldn't be caring if he's playing against Arthurley. He wouldn't care. You've got guys like Jota playing in front of 50 fans in Saudi Arabia. Do you think they want to go there? Or do you think it's because they're on 200 grand a week? There's no cause they fancy playing in front of 50 fans. It's because, so if you got the money, they'll come. Celtic don't want to spend money. That is the main issue. We all know it. I mean, they get in every window with this pretense that they want to come out the other side better. They want to come out the other side with a profit. Or at least as little damage as possible.
That's what better means. That's what better fucking means. The balance sheet, not the team sheet.
And that is what better means. And, do you know, and see, the worry thing is, I mean, I'm going to a different planet here, but summertime, I think we're going to need a new manager. I think we're going to need to replace that squad. I think O'Reilly, 2 fullbacks need replaced, our keeper needs replaced, with a striker, we're probably going to need to at least replace O'Reilly and one man midfielder. We're going to have 6, 7 players, and that's first 11 need replaced come summertime. Genuinely, we're going to need 2 wingers and a keeper straight off the bat. Two wing backs. That's 5 straight away. O'Reilly's 6, and then you think, okay, a striker and 7. That's a lot of work to be done, and maybe a manager. I just don't trust this club to move forward with recruitment. And can you imagine if we don't qualify for the Champions League, which I think we will anyway? But what they're going to give us more reasons why we can't sign players, more stumbling blocks. You know what I mean? More reasons why we can't compete with Rangers. Probably they're going to be saying is now. I just this club. I was glad at full time last night. The first song sung was Sack the Board. I'm glad the fans did that. I'm really glad if the fans kept on at that. And then And then last night, and I'll just really quickly, Brendan Rodgers told the players not to listen to the fans last week. Fine, Rodgers, you made your bed. But then the first thing you did at full time when Celtic won a match was run out of that fan base and put your fist up in the air and take the adulation of the fans who you said last week the players shouldn't have listened to. They've taken no. I thought that was naughty. If Celtic lost that match last night, he'd have been telling the fans, the players, the exact same message. He loves the adulation, hates criticism, and I think there's a wee bit of the board on Brendan Rodgers where, do you know what? He sees the fans as part of the pantomime. He doesn't particularly like the fans. He doesn't really like the fact that he has to actually appease them. And you listen to his press conferences talking about the transfer window. He told a reporter last week, I can't be asked answering any more questions about this transfer window. Well, I'm sorry. If this season goes either way, we all know the seeds of this season was sown in the 2 windows this year. So we want answers to this. And if you don't want to answer questions about it's on the heart of every Celtic fans, the tip of every Celtic fan's tongue, then don't stand there with a Celtic tracksuit on and take a teammate, because you know the guy that the Celtic fans want to see answering questions on why the place is a shit show just now.
I think with that, I'm going to sound like I'm defending Rodgers. I don't know the guy for Adam. I wonder if he just cannot believe the movie he finds himself in as well. And he's almost like, I cannot win. If I go to the point where I walk or I make a big defiant stance, some are going to look at me and think I'm playing the old trick that I did last time around. I'm trying to get these bastards on side. He might be the guy going, there's no one more shocked than fucking me out of the last 2 windows went, believe you me. I'm just trying to put a brave face and keep a united front because that's what we're going to need to win the title. But no, I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm trying to give an alternative fucking point of view to it. We can't just be one-dimensional on it, because we've got to look at the fact is as well, if this guy is the guy that we celebrated coming in, how much of a personality transplant can you have? Now, there are rumours as well. I think Alan Brazil 2 days ago said yesterday it was after was it yesterday? Was it this morning? It might have been I'm losing track of the days. This morning he said apparently there's a bit of beef going on with Rodgers and one of the guys in the board, and that's why he wasn't back in the January. That Alan Brazil might be just gossiping. But you can't deny, Mark, you cannot deny what's in front of us is something doesn't add up here. Something doesn't, because why is he came back? Now, the wage might be okay, but it's nothing like what he got in Saudi. I know people think it was a busted flush. Steven Gerrard got a job in Saudi Arabia. Let's just get that right. I think he sits about 9th in the league and just got a new 5-year contract. Brendan Rodgers would have been able to get a job in Saudi Arabia, and apparently he turned down offers. Now, I've got a feeling, there's Alex back in. She's saying it was yesterday. There we go. Cheers, pal. I think there's got to be more to it than what makes sense. And I do think a wee bit, not because I feel sorry for him. The guy makes 60 grand a week, Mark. I don't feel sorry for anyone who gets to manage Celtic for a second time in their career, one of the most privileged positions in football. Certainly to the swathes of fans who just boo for the sake of it. I don't feel sorry for a guy who makes comments like that. So let's be completely balanced from where I'm coming from. I've already told you last week, I went, see when he said that? I went, that was naughty. And that to me shows a guy full of self-preservation, and also was dismissive towards the fans. But almost at times, there's another side to me that goes, it's almost like he's playing a juggling act. The window had 24 to 48 hours still to go at that point. So he's trying to maybe curry favour with the board. He's maybe going, let's see, defended you's there. Now, can I get a player, please? And I wonder if he's found himself when he was promised things by Dermot Desmond, and that guy on deadline day is on the golf course, mate, that sums everything up. When it came to business, Desmond's there for a fleeting 5-second flash, mate, and wanted to look like the big hero in a cape. Brendan's back. Job's done. And his lack of respect for the Scottish title as well, by the way, is very much apparent. He just thinks, that'll do it. Is that not all it takes? Just put in a good manager. Oh, come on, fuck. And really, what was going on is a manager that clearly can't be happy with that recruitment. We can't deny. You can't say, even though he said he was happy with it, again, is it trying to keep peace with the board so it doesn't go the way it did season 3 last time around? He can't be happy with the players he's brought in. He's got two sets of eyes. He's got a set of eyes as well, the same as all of us. He can't possibly be happy with that, and he doesn't know whether he can. He can't just go out and say that. But again, at the same time, when the messages come out mixed, and then he turns on the fans, my sympathy isn't there for him. But in a realistic point of view, I do think he's found himself in no man's land as well.
On the Alan Resolve stuff, I don't think he's got an inside in Celtic Park. I think he's in England. I don't think he's got any inside information. I think he was one of the guys that got ridiculed last week after Brendan Rodgers about stupid rumours. I mean, I don't think the guy's got any in, so I think he just makes shit up. And do you know what? He wins a watch because his show gets more popular by making up. So good on him. But I don't know. I don't think that. I think my genuine feeling is the board when they back any manager and just doing this up in the January window because they're no one to spend money. But I think there's a very real reality that any money spent this January would be for a manager that's leaving anyway. I don't think that anybody find their support. I think there's a player, a manager, a fan their support that expects him to be in charge.
Does that come before then a £65 million jackpot though, Matt?
No,
that would be pretty petty if it did.
No, but you're spot on. But you're talking guys who count beans here. They're bean counters. They will think we've got enough. I think when you get Neil Lennon sitting there, Neil Lennon and Gordon Stratton sitting going like that, Celtic are by far the best team in the world. The board's going to listen to that pish, Bhoycie. I mean, if you ask Neil Lennon, he said that we didn't need to buy a striker when we had none last week. With Kyogo fucking no playing. No, why do you want a striker? He's sitting telling the press. You're like, what? What are you fucking talking about? So they don't know listen to anybody. I mean, they've got all the sycophants like Gordon Stratton and Lennon who'll tell them everything's fine. And John Hartson probably amongst them. So they'll think there's enough there to win the league. They'll think that squad's 55-45 to win the league. And they'll take their chances on that. But to be honest with you, I think in the actual boardroom, with the door closed, I think there's not one person that thinks he's got to be there. So why would they spend 15 million for this guy to build a team? Because I think summertime was all club players that were the Rodgers players. He asked for 4 players, didn't get them. He got up to 2 whoppers in January there. They didn't get any signings, and it's like Roy Dyler stuff. Like they know he's not going to be there. See, when you start signing loans and all the rest of it, that tells you that you're not going to be building a squad. It's just short-termism. Surely, if they had any inkling this guy was going to be here, they'd have at least try to build a squad for him.
It goes against that value, though, doesn't it? It goes against the value of even if you sign players with a short-term view, Mark. And I understand your point, but I'm like, if there's £65 million at the bank and they are bean counters, as you rightfully say, surely that takes precedence, no?
Well, this is the same board who gambled every season on near Beaton playing centre back. There was £40 million jackpot in the Champions League, but they didn't go spend £4 million on centre back.
Brilliant, mate. You're fucking out of order. Beaton's a shit hot player.
We say to the board, go and spend £2 million in a centre back that will give you a 20% extra chance of winning that 40 million. They'd probably say no, Bhoycie. They'd probably say no, I'm not gambling 20 million. Not a chance. You know what I mean? They would. They don't gamble. Every penny spent is welcome at Celtic Park. And
so then it doesn't matter if it's Rodgers leaving then in the summer because they wouldn't do it anyway.
I don't think there's any Celtic fan that I've spoke to that thinks he's going to be here next year.
But is it actually having any influence, or do they just not gamble full stop?
No, they don't gamble. But
would they have?
I don't. Maybe I don't think they would gamble. But I think when they close the door and they go, this guy is going to buy a such and such. They'll probably get the next guy lined up. They may be the next Neil Lennon lined up, and they probably think to themselves, "This guy's not going to."
Bizarre.
I genuinely do think they'll have something lined up. I don't know. They may not have names, but they will be.
They'll be Ronnie Tyler. They work in twos, mate. Second spells.
Aye. Well,
he'll come back dressed up with the
last 6 has been
the MLS league win. He did well in Belgium. You'll come back with a reputation in hands.
My worry is who we get in next. I mean, but I think that's why I think we should make the change now, because you'll give the guy a few months to to see what he's got to play with and see what we need. Because I think Rodgers will leave maybe the day after the league finishes or that couple of days if it lasts that long. And then we'll get a guy 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later. And you go, you've just wasted 6 weeks. You know what I mean? And you'll have Mickey Johnson coming back for his loan, McCarthy trying to win a place. It'll just be utter shambles again. Then sack him just now. While there's still a title race, sack him just now. Even if it's bringing in somebody
that costs more than what they would have spent on a
couple
of good players in January.
You see every Celtic fan just do £100 tap your season ticket for next season, but we're going to sack a manager now. I think the lot is we got that, no bother. Get rid of him, and let's just see. I think you would get a new manager bound straight away, because that team, nobody watches that. The players must be pissed off playing in that system. Never mind watching it. I've stayed. Listen, I have to leave early because I got a lift. I've not got a supporters bus anymore. I've watched one full Celtic match this season, and it was a Rangers game. That's because I was going downstairs to the bar, as you know.
I do know.
Right, so there's no a Celtic fan that's enjoying the football. So the players must not like it. So we would get a bounce. Such as how you doing it? We would get a bounce, but I mean, I think you would see a lot of freedom within the team. I think the team would get a spring out of getting rid of him, because I think he's a virus.
There's an opposing view coming in. Alex says sack him and the league is gone. No team's ever made a comeback this late on for a new manager. I just get the feeling though, such as the lethargic approach that the team seems to take every game, I get that vibe that there would be a bounce. I think this would be a rare exception to the rule. I hear Alex's point, but I'm actually going, do you know what? This time around, I think a young team's going, no, I want someone in who's just going to, let us breathe a wee bit. And for whatever reason, I think as well, the players need to take a lot of responsibility right now too. Anyway, Judge, it's 8:05. I promised I'd have you out of here by 8, so I'll let you go now. Thank you very much for jumping on, and thanks for the first 12 minutes that we just had a wee chat.
It was good, mate.
Had to buy his time. It
was great, mate. I just quickly before we go. I don't think that it'd be a bad thing for us to get a new manager. I think the players would feel like there's a cloud being lifted. I think the players don't like the football, don't like formation, don't like the manager. The fans, 8 out of 10, kind of stand the guy. I think it would just be like, I think it'd be a virus being removed for the blood system. I really do. I think
one of a few.
I think he's got to go first because that affects the team. And then straight away, the Lawwells.
Yeah.
Him first. Please, him first. That's my opinion.
I agree. Keep your eye on the manager. Keep your eye on the board. Is the message for the judge. Hope you enjoyed the T.N.F. We'll be back tomorrow night with that Friday feeling. Enjoy the rest of your night. Cheers, Matt.
Okay.